For over a week now, we have been trying to unravel this ACORN string. You know, there's something, things bother me once in a while. It's like there's a loose thread, you know, and I'm like, there's something to that. We start pulling on it. We're getting closer, but tonight, the one thing is, the ACORN thing is so complex, and I believe so intentionally complicated, that we don't even know what we don't know. But here's what we do know. Let's try to tie everything together on what we already do know, and keep in mind, we're not getting caught up in the politics of the voter registration fraud that, you already know about that. This is not about Barack Obama. This is not, Barack Obama versus John McCain. It's a right versus wrong thing. This is about corruption. This is about money. This is about using people getting rich. The first piece of the string that we had an ACORN spokesman, Scott Levinson, on. I just wanted to ask him a couple of simple questions about some bad things reportedly happening within his organization. Here's what happened.
Why have you hired people who have been imprisoned for identity theft?
Excuse me? I mean, really, excuse me, do you really want to go talk about that case?
Yeah,
you want to talk about the furlough program that the state offered.
Fraud.
The furlough program that the state offered, who released these people.
But it's so hard
for us.
I apparently can't do it because it's so hard. How would you hire somebody with identity fraud?
You throw out these numbers like 23,000, and you weren't even clear what the 23,000 was.
Help me out. Identity fraud. You have nobody?
Again, do you not hear me on the state furlough program?
Do you not? This is so ridiculous, man. Hey, by the way, Scott, would you like some Cheerios? This wasn't it. This is what really started. I mean, during the break, this guy had the nerve to say, oh, you know what, and you're just afraid of black people. I kicked him off my set. Later on, I had somebody else on from ACORN. They're still working from ACORN. In fact, I've had several people who are still working with ACORN on the program and advising us off the air. They have given us an insider look at the kinds of problems that they just ran into just by asking simple questions to ACORN's leadership, like I did there. We learned from these current and former ACORN members that ACORN actively looks to hire people from prison. Why? Well, here's how Washington, D.C.'s ACORN current chair, Marcel Reed, explained it.
The very same people that we're supposed to be enabling are the very same people that we sacrifice. So we can't have that kind of divisiveness there. If we're out to help people, who works for $9 an hour all day long or less? Who works for that kind of money? If you're empowered, and if you're not an idealist student or retiree who has a very cushy life, you can't afford to work for that kind of money.
Okay. Our guest went on to explain how these people are basically forced to meet quotas, which led to them registering Mickey Mouse or other fake names over and over again. And then, when ACORN gets caught, they do what Scott Levinson does. What? Are you kidding me? It's just some rogue employees, and they throw these people to the wolves. They explained this was protocol for two reasons. First, even if the form says Mickey Mouse, ACORN still gets paid. And second, they love to throw these people to the wolves, especially if they're minorities. That way, they can always pull out the race card. That helps them raise money in these communities by saying, look at the evil conservatives. Look at the white man, keeping the black man down. We're just trying to help with the furlough program. Well, then we unraveled the fact that while ACORN claims not to accept government funding, $10 million in federal money was funneled to them through other organizations just last year. But ACORN receives a lot more money than that, and most of it is virtually impossible to track. Because of that, the ACORN 8, these are the people that are inside ACORN that stood up and said, wait a minute, started asking questions, and they didn't like what they found.
ACORN does not need to be funded with any more taxpayer dollars until we find out what happened to the last taxpayer dollars that ACORN was funded with.